Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. You're swinging in because the title of this video is the two best games
we brought home from
Gencon. This is going up in part with our big Gencon haul and our Gencon vlog, which is coming out this weekend. But I just wanted to take a second to highlight two games that we really are shocked by. Now, just so you know,
we underestimated them.
We underestimated both of these games. Now, just so you are aware, we're going to have a lot more coverage on these games. We're going to be producing gameplay videos. We're going to have a full in-depth review of each one once we get a chance to get them to a table more times. Because we're, what, 2-3 games deep here? We're 1 game deep over here, along with a play test.
We want to get that with a couple, like, I'd like to play this with Alex from Boardgames and his wife, and I'd also like to play this with them.
So, there is a lot of content coming on both of these titles, Luna Capital from Devere and Land vs. Sea by Good Games Publishing, but I just wanted to take a moment to talk about them, to shout about them. Now, Land vs. Sea is a game that is not available yet. I believe it's coming up into like the last quarter of this year, and Luna Capital is a game that was only available, I believe, at Gencon. Like, the one palette they brought was at Gencon. I believe also...
They were selling out really well as well. I watched so many people come away with it.
I believe also this is a game that's going to be coming to the shores over here in our country sometime towards the end of this year. Okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, when you get underneath the Christmas tree or gifts under the Hanukkah menorah...
Hanukkah lights!
Close enough. These are two that you should be adding to your collection. And I'll spoil my review. Don't spoil yours. I'll spoil mine and say that right now, both of these are like 5 out of 5 for me.
Really?
I mean, yes.
I'm so happy to hear that!
Even after...
getting crushed multiple times.
And you storming off, not wanting to play any more games.
Yes.
Listen, we've had some emotional roller coasters.
It was very.
But they're so good. What do you want to start talking... Oh, and let's take a moment to acknowledge the people that actually created these games. This is going to be designed by Jose Ramon Palacios. And this...
It's not on its box.
Maybe...
Oh, Jean-Paul Jacques?
Ooh, that will be it. That will be it. With art by Albert Montius here.
Do you want to give an...
If I messed up the names, I'm from Kentucky.
Apologies.
I wanted to acknowledge them, but I didn't pre-prep or figure them out 100%.
Do you want to do a 60-second overview? You pick one, I'll pick the other?
Yeah, what do you want to go with?
I'm good with both of these titles. You pick.
I will take Luna Capital.
Go for it.
Okay. Luna Capital is going to be a game that's all about, and we'll have B-roll showing off a little bit here as well, and of course we'll read flavor text at the very end because that's what people are really here for. Luna Capital is going to be a game that is all about slowly building out your little squadron or village of industry. You're going to be drawing and drafting a series of cards. Stop getting things. This is my 60-second overview.
Sorry.
You're going to be drawing or drafting a series of cards that you'll play down in sequencing numbers. Up to 3 rows and as deep as you can get as long as you don't backtrack any numbers. And these will be the locations that you start building out your villages.
Duplicate as well.
Each one of your villages will start spreading. You're looking for kind of a point salad mess of scoring where you're getting as many different orchards and vineyards as you can. You're connecting different resources like oxygen producers all up together. You're scoring based off of some point scoring tiles. You're getting as many meteors as you can and looking for some in-game or end-game objectives. The most direct comparison I can think of is honestly going to be the trifecta of Verdant,
Calico, and
Cascadia. Those are going to be tile placement or tile drafting games where you're doing a similar thing. You're going to be drawing a card and a set of tiles attached to that card, then figuring out how to place them all into your puzzle. The thing that's standout about Luna Capital is just the vast amount of ways they allow you to solve for that puzzle. It escalates really quickly. As we're playing a 2-player game, the first draw, we're getting 1 card, 1 tile. Second draw, 1 card, 2 tiles. 1 card, 3 tiles. 1 card, 4 tiles, till you're almost filling up everything at the seams, and then you go to phase B and phase C, and that drives endgame. It plays fast, it plays quick, it plays clean, and you feel like you've done so much and yet not been able to do so much at the same time. Along with that, the aesthetic, the art, the table presence with this rocket ship that you're playing, or the point scoring mat here that just shows all the different variable ways to score.
First player token over here.
Oh, it's just beautiful and mind-blowing. Genuinely. Oh, and custom little meeples. I mean,
yeah.
It's got an incredible mouthfeel, really, really good gameplay, fantastic aesthetic, a refreshing theme, and it's heavy. It is a brain scratcher. It is one of those games where I underwrote it because I saw a small box. I saw a little bit of a goofy art style, and I didn't really know what it was presenting to the table. I knew a little bit of tableau building, not really tableau building though, a little bit of like tile placement, and that was about it. And then we sat down to play.
Speaking of brain scratcher, I'm going to launch into Land vs. Sea, which, its small box, should not fool you. This is also a very, very intense game for what it is.
This might be one of the heaviest small box games I've ever played.
So, Land vs. Sea is a 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player head-to-head. You are playing either of land or of sea, and with the 3-player variant, you are playing with caravans and ships. You are going to be placing tiles. All of these tiles are double-sided. You start with a single tile that is split half and half, and then you will have 2 to draw from and constantly be having a pool of 2 that you're going to pick. And you're going to look and see what sides do you need, what sides fit in. You can only match up water to water, land to land. Your goal is to create little enclosed areas of land that you can then score. You get points for how many tiles are in it, you get points for these little X's, and then there's so much more that we actually haven't even dived into that involve all these little shells and that involve the little mountain ranges and the caravans and the boats.
We haven't dived into it because the moment we started playing, we quickly realized that the weight and heaviness and complexity of this puzzle that you're solving is overwhelming. Now, not overwhelming in a bad way, like not a stand still, you're stuck way, but it is so captivating to look at all these different lines and agencies and areas where you could play and cut off your opponent, and this game can be brutal and mean. This is the game that the very first time I played, I got crushed. I got crushed. I mean, she was finishing my beaches, she was closing in my mountains, she was scoring, I mean, triple, double, quadruple my points every turn. Because I didn't get it, and I was just... Ugh. And then we came back to it, and I pissed her off so bad, she stood up from the table, pushed all the tiles off, and just sort of walked out of the room, and that was game night for the rest of the day.
I'm not proud of it.
It wasn't her best
game
moment.
Gave me a huge emotional moment. It was that fun.
You were trying your best to close off a giant rift. It would have
ginormous...
scored her 60, 70 points.
It would have won me the game, honestly.
No, it would have dominated the game. And so I spent the last few turns of the game...
just stopping it.
Mapping and twisting and turning and not really closing my own stuff off, just preventing her.
But in that process, you actually did close off so many small little spaces that you kept scoring. And even though I was ahead of you before that huge monstrosity, you surpassed me. And that's what frustrated me, because I ignored... The rulebook actually gives you little hints, and one of their major hints is... focus on small areas. If you get too big of an area, your opponent just has ease keeping it wide open.
It wasn't entirely your fault. Part of it was the area developed on its own, and then when you started trying to close it, I just kept leaving little sections open. I take one section and expanding it. Like a chasm like this takes double section and continues to grow it. Continues, and if you happen to connect that here, well then you have
this open area, this open area.
And so it just starts escalating on itself.
It gets bigger and bigger, and you go deeper and deeper.
I cannot wait to be able to have the mental power and capacity to play the in-depth version of this game, but I'm going to be honest, like, just the basic version of this is so captivating.
It looks like these are additional scoring things where mountains and coral. The mountains on the land, the coral in the sea.
And they start scoring for the collection that you have of them. So if you have 1, 2, 3, it's sort of, cascades.
Caravans and ships, you want a long chain of them, whether they are by land or by sea.
Now, caravans and ships will score when you place them down next to another one, and then specifically they'll score based off the length of the chain and whoever dominates with the most boats or caravans in that tile section.
There's 2-player, 4-player, and 3-player ways to play it.
Which is also disgusting because I don't want to know what we're trying to do with multiple people playing this game. This is a game that I underwrote. I mean, it was the first game that we got there when we were at Gencon. We have a copy for us, we have a copy for Alex.
No, we don't. We're cutting that. He doesn't get his copy. We keep both copies.
We've got 2 copies to share between each other. We're same shelf, just next to...
double the amount of pieces, honestly. That might blow your mind a little less.
Okay, either way, I underwrote this game because I thought tile placement, you're just trying to build little regions. Yeah. I've played games like this. I've played Carcassonne. Like, who's going to do this different or better? And for some reason, the competitive nature, the head-to-head way this game works, and the way that the tiles, the art, all of it, the fact that every tile is double-sided with different artwork, all of that compounds just how good this is. We haven't even talked about the extra bonus actions that these tiles have.
This allows you to do 2 pieces, one after another, in the hopes of closing in something that your opponent keeps refusing.
You only ever have 2 tiles in your hand, and then if we could find the other one, there's a little dagger.
And this one, daggers, allow you to steal pieces from each other, which you don't necessarily know what's on the hidden side of your opponent's piece. You keep that side a secret. And if you steal the piece that they had actually been looking forward to playing, then, well, stinks for them.
Yeah, you could either do something topside, but they only have 2 tiles, so you're forcing them into a 1-tile action at most.
At most.
And
leave the middle piece out.
You're taking something from them that they potentially really needed to close off a section. If you're paying attention, you can kind of see what they were planning for, see what they were drafting up from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these 2 games, Luna Capital,
surprises,
and Land versus Sea, they not only surprised us, they are the standout hits from Gencon.
They're fun to play.
They are permanent parts of my collection.
Yeah.
They're never leaving my collection. I mean, well, never say never, right? But, like, give it 2 or 3 years.
We are going to have to do a comparison video eventually between Luna Capital. Sorry, I just jumped to the other game completely, but I'm like, we're going to have to do Cascadia, Verdant, and Calico as a set versus Luna Capital.
Yeah.
I know you said that Luna Capital triumphs it, but I think we can go into detail about how and why.
It'd be interesting. And there's a few games that I think Land versus Sea would be comparable to, like tile placement. I'm not sure if you've played any, but there's some tile placement sort of pattern building games.
I like how good this is at 2 players. I'm constantly, like, we're going to put out a video about top couples games, and this is going to go on it. This was really solid at 2 players.
Yeah. Fascinating. That being said, I promised a bit of flavor text at the very end here. Shall we swing into that, and then we'll close off the video. We've just, added some stuff to your Christmas list, but I had to talk about games that I honestly had under-expected, and so I'll swing into it.
This one has no flavor text.
None at all? What about right here?
This is just a game overview.
Playtesters, game overview?
I don't see any.
Oh, wow. Never mind. 4 to 5. Luna Capital. Why no flavor text? I mean, it doesn't need flavor text.
I'm gonna read.
It doesn't need flavor text, but with the amount of... Let me just say something about Land versus Sea then. One of the reasons why I like it so much is every tile has custom artwork, and it's not just this generic thing that you're building. You have, like, characters. It looks like you're building out a map of this region, like a pirate map.
It's really pretty once it gets all built.
Yeah, there's a lot to look at.
Also, the little tiny detailed artwork on it. Like, you can find some pretty funny scenes.
Okay, flavor text for Luna
Capital. The colonization of the moon has ceased to be a concept limited to science fiction. Today, in the year 1977, it is a fully viable project. Various businessmen and companies are eager to finance the development of human settlements and be the first to set up in the new colony. All kinds of pioneering colonists have traveled to our planet's satellite with the hope of being the first to build a viable and prosperous settlement suited for human life. And to sell the other colonists everything they are going to need to be happy at Luna Capital. The players take on the roles of various groups of colonists, engineers, scientists, agriculturists, miners, and will have to manage all the opportunities available as they construct essential installations on the most appropriate terrain. The prize for success is not small. The agreement signed by all the colonists states that the most efficient and impressive moon station shall become the capital of the new lunar colony.
Over 12 rounds. It gets into the mechanics of the game. So,
well, I just have to point out one thing about the Luna Capital rulebook. As I was reading, each little section has flavor text about the different pieces. It was adorable to go through it. Like, it was talking about like oxygen and hydrogen are needed to make water, and how this type of building is needed in a capital, and this type of building is needed in the capital.
And there's a solitaire mode, which I really want to try out. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you're excited about stuff like we are, because we just like talking about things we're excited about. But, yeah, 2 remarkably good standout titles. Luna Capital, Land versus Sea. This is coming from DeVere. This is coming from
Good Games Publishing.
Yeah, put them on your radar. Because they're going to sell out immediately.
Whatever the case. Whatever you do. Remember
to do the important thing. Get both these games. What do you? There's nothing else, right? You got to play them. If you're going to get out and play some games, you play good games. These are the ones. These games. These other games too, but these also. These definitely these. Some of these, right? Some of these.
All these.
This man will buy these games.
Yes, this woman shall play these games.
This woman shall play these games. This man shall buy these games. This is the thing the man and the woman shall do.
We'll see you next time.
Good games.